Every second you don't take action, you're betraying the life you could be living. Time, like a river, never waits for you. You can sit there waiting for the right moment, the right readiness, but the reality is there is no such thing as the right moment until you make it. Every second you waste is not just time passing by, it's a lost opportunity, a step forward that you have declined. Procrastination is the most dangerous enemy. It never arrives with a clear warning. It comes in the form of excuses, justifications you create to protect your comfort. I'll start next week. It's not the right time. I need more time. Each of these phrases is a trap, an excuse for laziness. No one but you can control your life. If you keep living like this, you'll never achieve the things you desire. The only way to overcome procrastination is by taking action. Act now, don't wait. You don't need more time. You don't need more resources. You just need to stop making excuses for your delay. Every second you let slip by is a second that will never come back, and each of those seconds creates distance between you and others. Those who have chosen to act, those who have decided not to let time slip away in vain. Think about this. Everyone has the same number of hours in a day, but the results will be vastly different. Those who choose to act immediately, those who do not seek perfection, will go much further. Every moment has value. You can choose to sit back and worry about what might happen, or you can act despite the fear, despite the uncertainty. That is the difference between those who succeed and those who live an ordinary life. I have lived through this all my life. When I started building Zip2, I had no money. We lived in the office, ate cheap food, and worked relentlessly. But we had one crucial thing: passion. That was the only thing we needed. Passion never waits for the perfect opportunity. Passion never asks, when is it enough? Passion only knows one thing: action. If you are standing still, if you keep searching for reasons to delay, you will never move forward. You don't need to wait for a revolution. You just need to start with small steps. Even small actions can create a big difference. Every time you delay, you are wasting an opportunity, and no one can get back lost opportunities. Don't let comfort blind you. Don't let habits make you forget the big goals you once had. If you do nothing, if you keep living in a meaningless cycle, life will pass you by. You can't live forever in excuses. The truth is, you don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to start. Perfection will come after you take action. People always talk about wanting to change their lives, but change doesn't come from thoughts or words. Change comes from action. You can't sit there and expect life to change because you want it to. Remember that every second you live is an opportunity that cannot be reclaimed. You can allow yourself to be buried in comfort, or you can rise and start. Life is not a stroll. It is a constant challenge. And only when you truly realize that you must change can you step out of your comfort zone. Only when you decide to act can you break free from procrastination and begin creating meaningful changes in your life. Don't wait. Act now, because time will never come back. If you want your life to be different, now is the time to start. Don't let time pass by in vain. Do something today, even if it's small, to move forward. That is the first step to change. Remember, no one will do it for you. You must do it yourself. Every second you live is an opportunity to act, an opportunity to move forward. If you are looking for motivation, if you want to change your life, don't hesitate. Don't let time pass by in vain. Don't let procrastination defeat you. Do something right now, because every second you don't act is a second you will never get back. If you find value in what I'm sharing, remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about the challenges you're facing and how you're taking action to change your life. Together, we will move forward, second by second, minute by minute. Dario, 29 years old, seems to have nothing wrong in his life from the outside. A stable job, a small but cozy apartment, friends gathering on weekends, and a routine that's nothing but regular. Everything is fine to the point of being unremarkable, and that's the problem. Dario had stopped living in a world of unfulfilled promises, of intentions that never came to fruition. Every day he talks about wanting to start a business, travel, learn something new, but it's all just words. He set lofty goals but never took action. Work remained work, the apartment stayed the same, and weekend gatherings continued as a habit with no change. Dario convinced himself that everything was fine, that there was no rush, that he just needed a little more time. But then, one day, a casual remark struck him like a lightning bolt. A friend, in a casual conversation, said, "Maybe it's because you're not going anywhere, you don't feel progress." Dario laughed, but those words kept echoing in his mind. He realized it wasn't mockery, but a painful truth. He didn't lack time, he lacked motivation. He didn't lack opportunities, he lacked action. All those words about wanting to do this and that were just empty phrases. Dario had been living in a loop, a series of days passing by with nothing changing. He kept blaming his own indecisiveness, but he was the one who had closed the doors of opportunity with his excuses. Everything changed on a random Thursday. His phone rang. "Mom, what's wrong?" Dario replied vaguely. Then his mother's trembling voice came. "Your father just had a heart attack. Come to the hospital now." There were no tragic scenes or mournful sounds like in the movies. Just moments of silence, the beeping of machines, and news no one wants to hear. Dario's father, whom he always admired for his calmness and consistency, passed away without saying goodbye. In that moment, Dario didn't feel pushed into a pit. He didn't cry, he didn't know what to do, he just stood still. In the days that followed, while helping his mother clean up belongings, he stumbled upon an old box filled with papers, letters, and photos. And among them was a piece of paper with a short list, things his father wanted to do when he had time. Simple things like learning Italian, revisiting the city where he met Dario's mother, writing a letter to his brother he hadn't contacted in years. And at the end of the list, one short sentence: "Sometimes I feel like Dario has something big inside him, but it's fading because he doesn't act. I hope he realizes this before it's too late." Dario looked at those words like looking into a broken mirror. He felt a sharp pain, not from regret, but from the painfully clear truth. He saw himself in those words. What his father wrote was the life he was living, a life of promises, of goals never achieved, of great intentions but never acted upon. Dario realized he had wasted too much time. The years he waited for perfection, waited for the right time, waited for a sudden change that never came. Time had passed, opportunities had been lost, and in that moment, he decided he would not let another second pass without taking action. Dario had no concrete plan. He only knew one thing: if he didn't change, everything would stay the same. He started with small steps. He quit a job he didn't love, began writing every morning, took an online course, sold things he didn't need, and even went to Portugal without a clear plan. These decisions were not easy, and not everything went smoothly. He did small jobs, he failed, he felt lost, but the important thing was he took action. He no longer stayed still. 1 year later, Dario was no longer the man he once was. When a friend asked him about life, his answer had changed. "I'm growing." And this answer wasn't just a nice phrase, it was the truth. Dario had seen the change in himself. He no longer lived in promises and delays. He had started taking action, step by step, despite doubts, fears, and failures. But he was on the right track. He understood that change doesn't come from big decisions made instantly, but from small, consistent actions. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Time is like a river. Events pass by, and a strong current sweeps them away. And just as something has passed, something else appears to replace it." Dario understood that too late, but fortunately he realized it before it was too late. He understood that life doesn't wait for anyone. Time doesn't stand still for you to catch up. Every second without action is a lost opportunity. These opportunities cannot come back. Dario saw that his real enemy wasn't time or lack of luck, but standing still, convincing himself that he needed more time, more preparation, while life was continuing on. What about you? How many seconds have you let slip by meaninglessly? Have you ever asked yourself why you still haven't achieved what you want? The answer is simple. You're still standing still, still living in your own excuses. If Dario could change, if he could break free from the cycle of procrastination, then you can do the same. Don't let time carry away your opportunities. Start now, even with a small step, but it's the first step to no longer living in regret. A moment of awareness is one of the most important moments in anyone's life. It doesn't come gently, but often in the form of a shock, an unexpected event, a crisis that forces you to stop and reassess everything. Dario had such a moment. He had been living a life where, on the outside, everything seemed fine, but inside, he knew he was missing opportunities. When his father passed away before accomplishing the things he wanted to do, Dario faced the truth about himself. He had lived a passive life, letting time pass without acting. We all know life is short, but it's only when such an event happens that we truly feel it. Dario didn't cry, he didn't know what to do, but inside everything changed. An invisible message was sent to him from his father's passing. Don't let another moment pass in vain. This moment of awareness didn't just make Dario stop, it completely changed the way he viewed life. This is a moment you can't take back. Once time passes, it doesn't return. You can continue living with excuses, living in the safety and delay of your comfort zone, but you'll never achieve anything great. Life isn't for those who always wait for perfection. Life is for those who act. You can't change the past, but you can change the future by acting now. And this moment of awareness is the starting point for change. Dario didn't realize this until it was too late, but he understood that procrastination was the enemy of success. Every second you live in hesitation, you're losing an opportunity. These opportunities don't just disappear, they leave behind consequences you'll regret later. Every time you don't act, you're wasting precious time you can never get back. And if you continue to live this way, you'll always feel like you're standing outside of life, never truly living. Dario realized he couldn't continue living like this, and he decided to change. We can learn a lot from these moments of awareness. Don't wait until a tragic event happens to realize how many opportunities you've missed. Don't wait until you're standing before your loved ones and they've passed without you doing anything. Don't let life pass by without making real progress. Instead, act now. Don't let excuses, lack of resources, or delays stop you. Act now and create a future you won't regret. Dario started with small steps. He didn't wait for everything to be perfect, he just needed to start. And that's the key. You don't need to know everything, you don't need all the answers. You just need to start, act, right now. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Don't wait until you feel ready. The truth is, you will never feel ready. But if you keep waiting, you'll be stuck in procrastination forever. The only way to move forward is to act immediately. Life never stands still. It continues, doesn't wait for anyone. Whether you're ready or not, time keeps moving. And you'll have to ask yourself, do you want to look back on your life and regret the opportunities you missed, the steps you didn't dare take? Or will you start acting today, creating a life you'll proudly look back on? Change doesn't come from big decisions made instantly, but from small, persistent steps. Every day is an opportunity to act. Every small action is a step forward. And if you don't act, you'll always stay still, forever living in regret. The moment of awareness isn't something you can control. It comes when you least expect it, but once you realize it, you'll know it's time to change. Don't let the moment of awareness pass without action. Don't let procrastination decide your fate. Act today, so you'll never have to look back and regret the moments wasted. A turning point is not a grand event, not something noticeable that you can see from afar. It often comes in moments that are unexpected, like a flash of lightning in the dark, forcing you to stop and reflect. But true change doesn't come from big moments. It comes from small decisions, the steps you choose to take every day. Dario experienced a turning point in his life. When he realized he had lived too long in procrastination, he decided to change. He didn't know all the answers, he didn't have the perfect plan, but he had one important thing: determination. And that's what you need. Sometimes people wait for a sign, a moment when everything will become clear. They wait for a big change, a leap for everything to be perfect. But the truth is, you will never have all the answers right away. The world doesn't work that way. What you need is a decision to no longer stand still, to not let life pass by in vain, a decision to act now. When Dario decided to quit his stable job, he didn't know where he was going or what he would do. He just knew that if he didn't change, he would stay stuck forever. This is important because life doesn't wait for anyone. You can't sit around waiting for perfection to come to you. You can only start from where you stand, and Dario did that. He started by writing every morning, taking an online course, and gradually creating a new path for himself. That path wasn't always easy. He failed. He made mistakes. But the important thing was, he didn't stop. He didn't let difficulties stop him. So why wait for a big turning point? Why wait for a tragic event to realize you need to change? Every day is an opportunity for you to change. Every decision, even small, can change your direction. The important thing is not to let time pass without acting. A turning point is not a big event, but the small changes you make in your life, step by step. A turning point doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to be a strong decision to act right now. If you think you need all the answers, you'll always remain still. The truth is, you can never be perfectly prepared for every situation. You can't control everything, but you can control your actions. And when you start acting, you'll realize that things will start to change. Dario didn't have the perfect plan, but he knew he needed to act immediately. He started with small steps, and over time, those small steps led to a big change. He didn't need to have all the answers from the start. He just needed to start. You can't change the past, but you can change your future by starting to act today. Act now, even with a small step, because each step will make a difference. If you keep waiting for a big event, a perfect moment to act, you will never achieve anything great. Life doesn't wait for anyone. Every second you live is an opportunity to act, to change. And you must seize each of those opportunities. The important thing is not to stop. Each step, no matter how small, but if you keep moving, you will go further than you think. Every failure, every mistake is part of the learning process. Don't fear failure, fear procrastination, fear standing still, because that is the biggest enemy of progress. Dario didn't let fear stop him. He moved forward, despite the uncertainty, despite the doubt, but he started, and that's the biggest difference. When you start acting, you'll see change, little by little. You don't need to do everything perfectly right away. You don't need a perfect plan from the start. You just need a decision to act, and that action will bring change. A true turning point in life is not a sudden event, but the decisions you make every day. Start acting. Don't wait for a big event to change. The real turning point comes from the determination to change now, from taking action every moment. Life won't change if you don't change. Successful people are not the ones who never fail, but the ones who never give up. You may fail, you may face difficulties, but the important thing is you never stop. Action is the only thing that can change everything, and if you keep acting, even with small steps, you will reach where you want to be. The real turning point in life comes from never giving up, never stopping, and always continuing to act. All big changes start with small steps. No one can create a revolution with just one simple decision. But that doesn't mean you can't make a difference right now by taking immediate action. We all hear about successful people, those who make leaps in life. But few know that each of those leaps is built from small steps, from daily actions that no one notices. You don't need a perfect plan to start. You just need to begin. When I started building Zip2, I didn't have a detailed plan on how we would become a billion-dollar company. I didn't have enough money. I didn't have a large team. I didn't have perfect preparation. But I had one thing, the determination to begin. We had no choice but to act. Every day, we worked tirelessly, doing small tasks, taking small steps forward. Those steps seemed insignificant at the time, but they were the ones that eventually led to big changes. And that's the point you need to understand. All big changes start with small steps. No one starts with everything ready. No one can build a company, a project, or achieve a big goal without facing challenges and failures. But the difference between successful people and those who fail is one thing: persistence and the ability to keep acting, even with small steps. Dario, in his story, started with small steps. He quit a stable job and began writing, learning, and seeking new opportunities. Each step he took seemed insignificant, but those steps changed his life. Starting with small steps doesn't mean you'll move slowly. On the contrary, it's the fastest way to move forward. Every small step you take will bring you closer to your goal. The important thing is not that you need to do big things right away, but that you need to act right now. If you wait until everything is perfect, you will never start. Don't wait for perfection. Take action, even if it's a small step, but take action now. The question you need to ask yourself is not, how can I change my entire life right away, but what can I do right now to start changing? The small steps you take every day will make a big difference in the future. You will definitely face difficulties, you will fail, you will stumble, but the important thing is you don't stop. You can't change everything in one day, but you can change your small habits every day. Those small changes will help you make a big difference in your life. Never underestimate the small steps. They are the foundation for building something bigger. A small habit, a small decision today, can create a big change in the future. Imagine you're building a building. If you start with small bricks, it will take time to build, but over time, you'll realize that you've built a solid structure strong enough to last. Every small action you take will build the bricks of your life. Don't be afraid to start with small steps. Every great success begins with these steps. They may not be visible right away, but over time, they will make a significant difference. I've always said you must focus on solving small problems, because when you solve the small problems, you create a bigger impact. And here's what I want you to remember. No problem is too small for you to solve. You may not change the world in one day, but you can change your own life right now, one step at a time. Small steps help you build habits. Good habits will create big changes in your life. You may not realize it right away, but each day you wake up and do something small and useful, you're building a new habit. These habits will guide you to big changes. Imagine if you spent just 10 minutes every day learning a new skill. After a year, you'll have 3,650 minutes, equivalent to over 60 hours of learning. After a year, you will have significant knowledge in a field you never thought about. Those small daily changes will make a big difference in your life. So why wait? Why not act now? Every second, every minute that passes is an opportunity to change your life. Don't wait until you have enough time, enough money, enough energy. Just start with small steps. Don't focus on the big goal and forget the small steps you can take right now. It's those small steps that will help you achieve the big goals you set. Act today, even if it's a small step, so you can look back at the end of the year and realize that you've changed a lot. Every day is an opportunity for you to move forward. Don't let excuses, lack of resources, or procrastination make you miss that opportunity. The small steps you take today will lead you to big successes tomorrow. And remember, you don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to start to get better every day. Standing still is your worst enemy. It's not just about inaction, but also procrastination, the silence before an opportunity. Every moment you let pass, every opportunity you don't seize, has a price. And that price is not something you can buy back or replace. When you stand still, you're not simply not moving forward, you're moving backward. The longer you stand still, the harder it is to come back. Time never stops waiting for you. Think about this. How quickly a year goes by. People often say, "This year, I'll change." But have you really acted? If you stand still and change nothing, the next year, you'll still be in the same place. Every day you don't move forward is a day defeated by your own laziness and procrastination. The world doesn't wait for you. Time won't be on your side if you don't seize it. The price of standing still is high, not only because you lose opportunities, but also because it takes away your confidence, motivation, and passion. I've learned an important lesson throughout my career. Standing still is not a break, it's a slow suicide. When I started, there was no guarantee of success. No one told me I'd succeed, just the determination to never stop. Every day, I asked myself, if I don't act today, what will happen? And the answer was always, I will lose an opportunity, I will lose growth, so I couldn't stand still. No one can. Dario, like many of us, lived in a cycle of procrastination. He knew he needed to change, but fear and old habits held him back. Every day he said, I'll do it tomorrow, and it's not the right time. But these words were no different than chains that trapped him. Procrastination kills everything. And when the moment of realization came, when he realized life waits for no one, standing still made him pay the price. The price of inaction is immeasurable. Dario lost precious time, and now he faced the reality that everything he could do would be too late. When you stand still, you're not just missing opportunities, you're missing out on your potential. This world is always changing, always moving, and you can't swim against that current. The price of standing still is not just a lack of progress, it's becoming obsolete. Those who move forward, they don't wait, they act. Every big change starts with small steps, and every step you don't take is an opportunity missed. Never underestimate standing still. It can cause you to waste your entire life. When I started my first company, I didn't have a big team, I didn't have massive resources, but I had the determination not to stand still. Every day I acted. Maybe those steps weren't perfect, but they were steps forward. And the important thing is, I never stopped. If I had stopped, I wouldn't have what I have today. Don't let procrastination, standing still, kill your dreams. Never think you can let time pass without paying the price. The cost of standing still is not just losing opportunities, it's giving up personal growth. Every day you stand still is a day you limit yourself. Opportunities don't come twice, time doesn't come back. You won't be able to get back lost opportunities. And when you look back, you'll realize you let the days pass in vain. You can't go back, but you can start today. You can choose to act now and change the course of your life. Standing still creates a vicious cycle. You do nothing, and therefore you see no results. Without results, you convince yourself, I need more time, or I'm not ready yet. And so, procrastination continues. Every day you don't act, you create a new reason to do nothing. This will kill all your opportunities. Every small step you don't take is a step you've moved backward. Don't let standing still define your life. Each of us has limited time. Time doesn't wait for procrastinators. If you don't act now, you'll watch others move forward, and you'll only stand still regretting. The price of standing still is regret later, realizing you could have done more, but didn't act when you had the chance. Act now, even with small steps. Don't wait until you feel ready. You will never feel ready, but you must start. Because if you don't start now, you'll lose every opportunity and pay the price for standing still. Standing still is an invisible enemy, but it can cost you dearly. Don't let procrastination defeat you. Act today. Do something, even if it's small, but it will move you forward. Start now. Don't let standing still kill your future. Stoic thinking is not an abstract theory or distant concept. It is a powerful tool that helps you survive and thrive in this ever-changing world. Stoicism teaches you how to control your emotions, master yourself, and focus on what you can change rather than what's beyond your control. In a world that is constantly changing and full of challenges, Stoic thinking is the key to preventing you from being swept away by emotional storms and external temptations. In life, you will always face situations that you can't control. You'll have bad days, failures, and unexpected events you didn't want. But the important thing is, you can control how you react to those situations. Stoic thinking doesn't mean you don't feel anything. It means you don't let emotions dictate your actions. You can feel pain, frustration, or anger, but you can choose to act even in the midst of those feelings. This helps you never lose control and always maintain clarity of mind during difficult times. I've learned the power of Stoic thinking throughout my career. I didn't have time to dwell on regrets every time something didn't go the way I wanted. Stoic thinking helped me not to let failure crush me. Instead, each failure was a lesson, each challenge was an opportunity for growth. When I started building companies, I faced many hardships, lack of money, staff, and resources. But I never let those obstacles stop me. I focused on what I could control and let go of things beyond my reach. What matters is action, not sitting there worrying. Stoic thinking teaches you how to keep your spirit intact, not be swept away by events you can't change. When a challenge arises, instead of reacting emotionally, you'll ask yourself, is this really important? What can I do to improve the situation? This helps you not drown in frustration or disappointment, but to find the most effective solution to the problem. Instead of blaming circumstances, you look for ways to change yourself to adapt and overcome. Dario, in his story, had to face the painful truth when he realized he had lived in procrastination for too long. But after experiencing a major loss, he didn't let suffering last. He applied Stoic thinking to his life, not allowing himself to be torn apart by negative emotions. He chose to act despite fear, doubt, and anxiety. In this way, he not only overcame the pain, but also grew and moved forward. When you start living with Stoic thinking, you will realize that you can change how you perceive everything. You will no longer be driven by external factors like what others think of you, or things you can't control. The only thing you can control is your own actions. When I built Tesla and SpaceX, I faced countless challenges, but I always reminded myself that the only thing I could control was my actions, not the results. Results are beyond control, but actions are within your control. One of the biggest lessons of Stoic thinking is acceptance. Accept that there are things you can't change, and instead of complaining or feeling sad, focus on what you can do. This acceptance is not about giving up, but about understanding that you can't change the past or things that don't belong to you. What matters is how you respond to them. When you accept this, you'll see that everything becomes easier. You won't waste time worrying about things you can't change. Instead, you'll spend time doing what can improve the situation. Stoic thinking also teaches you patience. Life doesn't always provide immediate results. Success is not something that can be achieved overnight. You must be patient, learn from failures, and keep acting. I went through thousands of failures before achieving the success I have today. But I didn't let those failures stop me. I kept trying, kept looking for ways to solve problems until I achieved my goals. If you give up after a few failures, you'll you'll never know what you could have achieved. Life is not always easy. There will be times when you feel tired, when you feel like you can't continue, but that's when Stoic thinking really shows its strength. You don't allow yourself to quit. You don't let emotions dictate your actions. You keep going, even in the hardest moments. And when you look back, you'll see that those challenges have made you stronger, more resilient, and ready to face any future challenges. Stoic thinking is not a theory or empty philosophy. It's a lifestyle, a method that helps you face every difficulty, overcome every challenge, and never give up. If you can apply Stoic thinking in your life, you'll realize that everything you want to achieve can succeed. You'll never let hardship or failure knock you down. Instead, you'll see them as opportunities to learn and grow. And eventually, you'll achieve the big goals you set for yourself because you never give up and always move forward. Justification is one of the most dangerous enemies in your life. It doesn't appear as an obvious enemy, not something you can see, but it quietly erodes you, causing you to stand still and procrastinate. Justification can make you think you're on the right track, that you're doing everything you can to move forward, but in reality, it's just a cover-up for your laziness and fear. Every time you justify yourself, you're convincing yourself that you don't need to act right now, that you'll do it later, or that you need just a little more time, but that time never comes. I've witnessed the destruction that justification can bring. Throughout my journey of building SpaceX and Tesla, I encountered many people, many partners and associates who, instead of taking action, came up with reasons and justifications. They could justify delays in progress, explain why a product wasn't finished, or give reasons for not meeting goals. Every time I saw an opportunity lost. Justification is how you miss your own opportunities. When you find reasons not to work, not to move forward, you're simply giving up. This is really important because justification makes you lose real progress. Every time you tell yourself, today is not the time, you're losing an opportunity. Imagine if every time you face a challenge at work, you come up with a reason not to confront it. In the end, you'll never move forward. You'll be stuck, drowned in your own justifications. If you want success, if you want to achieve great things, you must face the truth that justification won't get you anywhere. It only causes you to fall behind. Your mindset needs to change. You need to realize that justification is not a reason, it's just an excuse to avoid doing things you don't want to do. When I started with Tesla, many people told me I couldn't succeed, that I didn't have enough resources, that the auto industry couldn't be changed. But I didn't listen to those justifications. Instead, I focused on what I could do. I focused on building the best product I could, even though those around me didn't believe in my ability to succeed. That's the difference between successful people and those who never achieve their goals. Successful people don't let justification get in their way. They act despite all the reasons and difficulties. Justification is what holds you back and makes you miss opportunities. Every time you do nothing because of this or that reason, you're losing a valuable opportunity. Throughout my career, I never waited for things to be perfect because I knew if I kept waiting, I'd never move forward. Those who wait for perfection are the ones who miss the biggest opportunities. Instead of finding reasons to delay, you need to find reasons to act. Every decision, every action, no matter how small, matters. And when you stop justifying, you'll find that everything becomes clearer, and you'll move forward even with the smallest step. Ask yourself, each time you don't act, each time you find an excuse to procrastinate, how many opportunities have you lost? A day of inaction is a day that can never be regained. A month of procrastination is a month you can't recover. You may think you can do it tomorrow, but the truth is, tomorrow never comes. If you keep justifying your procrastination, you'll always stay in one place. Successful people are those who never let justification get in their way. They know that success doesn't come from words, but from actions. You need to act today, even if it's a small step, but you must act. Another important aspect of defeating justification is to look at the reasons you give. These reasons often sound very reasonable, very easy to accept. You might think you need more time to prepare, or that you're not good enough to do it, but in reality, those reasons are just excuses. No one starts when they're fully ready. No one has all the answers from the start. The important thing is that you must start. If you don't start, you'll stay still forever. Justification will only waste your time, and once time has passed, it will never come back. Eliminate justification from your mindset. Don't let it lead you anymore. Don't let it pull you into a cycle of procrastination. You don't need to do everything perfectly, you just need to start. Start with small steps, and as you act, things will become clearer. You'll see that justifications no longer have a place in your life. Act now. Don't let justification stop you from moving forward. Step out of your comfort zone and act. Only then can you achieve what you desire. Real imprisonment is not made of concrete walls or cold iron bars. True imprisonment is standing still. It is where you trap yourself in a loop of procrastination, creating excuses not to act. You're not confined by others. You are the one who binds yourself to stagnation. The most dangerous thing is not realizing you are in that prison. You think you're free, that you can do whatever you want, but in reality, you've imprisoned yourself in your justifications and fears. I've met many people in my career who have great potential, yet they lock themselves in stillness. These people aren't lacking talent or ability. They only lack one thing: action. They allow fear, lack of confidence, and excuses to hold them back. And this is the prison. Stagnation and procrastination are the traps they've created. Days pass in vain. Valuable opportunities are missed because they are afraid to act. But if you truly want to change your life, you must realize that nothing holds you back except yourself. Stagnation is the real prison. You don't need to be in a locked room or under someone's supervision. All you need to do is stop acting, and you've trapped yourself in your own cage. This is truly dangerous. When you stand still, you're not just losing opportunities, but you're also losing yourself. You lose the ability to grow, the ability to overcome challenges, and eventually, you'll see how much you've lost just by not daring to step outside. When I started with Tesla, I didn't have the favorable conditions many people think are necessary for success. There was no large capital, no broad support, but I didn't let that stop me. I didn't let fear or shortcomings prevent me from acting. If I had stood still and waited for everything to be perfect, I'm sure Tesla would never have existed. I acted without having all the answers, knowing there would be many challenges, but I knew that the only thing I could do was keep moving forward. Every step I took was a step breaking free from stagnation. Stagnation is the enemy of progress. When you don't act, you're not only wasting time, but also wasting your potential. Every day you remain still, you are building a prison for yourself. You cannot blame anyone when you don't act. You may have all the reasonable excuses to procrastinate, but you must realize that these reasons aren't real reasons. They're just excuses to keep you from stepping out of your comfort zone. You can't let fear or insecurity imprison you. Change, growth, it all begins with stepping out and acting. So how do you escape the prison of stillness? The answer is action, nothing else. You must accept that there will be difficulties, there will be failures, but the important thing is that you must act. You must be ready to face challenges and not let them discourage you. I've faced countless challenges on the journey to build SpaceX and Tesla. People told me I couldn't do it, that my projects were unrealistic. But I didn't stop. I kept acting because I understood that stagnation is the enemy. And when you don't stop, you'll see that eventually you will achieve what you desire, no matter how difficult the road may be. The difficulty is not in starting. The difficulty is not giving up. Throughout my journey, I've faced many challenges, but I've never allowed myself to stand still. Every failure is a lesson. Every challenge is an opportunity for growth. I never viewed failure as an end. On the contrary, I saw them as necessary steps on the road to success. And I knew that when I kept acting, I would reach my goal. Only by continuing to move forward can you truly break free from stagnation. Standing still prevents your growth. You can't expect a different life if you keep standing in one place. If you don't change, nothing will change. And that's the prison you've created for yourself. Don't let stagnation kill your dreams. Don't let it kill your potential. Realize that change can only come when you dare to step out, dare to act, and never stop. That is the key to escaping the prison of stillness. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to freedom. Every action has value, even if you don't see the results immediately. The important thing is that you don't stand still. You can't let fear or doubt stop you. Only when you break the chains of procrastination and stillness can you truly be free. And that is what we all need to do. Escape the prison of stillness and start acting now. Accepting discomfort is not about enduring bad things without reaction. It's a strategy to face difficulties and overcome them rather than avoid them. Throughout my career, I've learned that discomfort, difficulty, and feeling uncomfortable are signs of growth. In fact, if you don't feel discomfort, if everything is easy, you might be doing something wrong or not truly challenging yourself. Great things in life, in careers, and in any field never come from smooth paths. They come from paths full of hardships, pain, and challenges. When I started with SpaceX, no one believed we could succeed. We faced countless challenges, failed rocket launches, lack of resources, insufficient funding, but it was in those tough moments that I realized discomfort was exactly what I needed to seek. Instead of trying to avoid discomfort, I learned to accept it and use it as an opportunity to grow. Every failure was a step forward. Each time we failed, we learned something and we came back stronger. The key is never giving up, never letting discomfort stop you. You must accept that every challenge is part of the progress process. We often think that a successful life is one without difficulty, but that is an illusion. The truth is, successful people are not those who never face difficulties, but those who know how to face and overcome those difficulties. When you face a challenge, when you feel uncomfortable, that's when you need to keep going. It is these challenges that create the difference between the ordinary and the successful. If you're not ready to face discomfort, you will never achieve great things. The key is to realize that discomfort is part of the journey, and it's not something to avoid, but something to embrace. When starting a big project, nothing is easy. I couldn't have started Tesla and SpaceX and expect everything to go smoothly. I accepted that every step would be full of challenges, failures, and hardships. Others may have seen a failed rocket, a car that didn't work as expected, and thought we were failing. But I saw something else. I saw opportunity. I saw each failure as a learning experience, a chance to do better, stronger. Discomfort is mandatory if you want to go further. In life, you may think that success comes from ease, but that's not true. The most successful people share one thing in common. They never avoid discomfort. They face it and learn from it. I always tell my team that when we face a problem, that's when we need to focus more, work harder, not when we need to give up. Each time we overcome a challenge, we not only move forward, but we also grow stronger. That's how I built SpaceX and Tesla. Embracing discomfort and not letting it deter you is the key to moving forward. Discomfort is not something you need to avoid. Discomfort is what you need to seek. When you feel uncomfortable, that's when you grow. The key is knowing how to use discomfort to push yourself forward. Instead of letting it discourage you, use it as motivation. Every time you overcome a challenge, you'll become stronger, smarter, and closer to your goal. So, embrace discomfort. Don't avoid it. Don't fear challenges. It's part of the process. If you don't feel discomfort, maybe you're not challenging yourself enough. Great things don't come from comfort. They come from persistence, from accepting discomfort and continuing to move forward. Every challenge you face, every time you overcome difficulty, you'll find that you've grown and become stronger. And when you look back, you'll realize that it was these challenges that made the difference in your life. Pause for a second and ask yourself, are you ready to embrace discomfort? Are you ready to face big challenges to achieve what you want? Discomfort is not something to avoid. It's something you need to learn to live with and harness to move forward. If you don't do that, you will never achieve what you want. And in the end, you'll realize that it's discomfort that led you to the success you've been waiting for. The power of small actions is a concept that many people overlook, but it's the core factor behind big change. Throughout my journey, I've learned that it's not the grand decisions, not the leaps, but the small daily actions that truly make a difference. When I started with Tesla and SpaceX, no one believed we could succeed. But I understood that if we didn't act from the beginning, if we didn't start with the smallest tasks, we would never have the chance for something big. It's those small actions, though insignificant in the moment, that gradually create revolutionary change. Everything starts with small steps, and once you begin, you'll see great things slowly take shape. I never waited until everything was perfect. I started with simple, unpretentious steps, but I never stopped acting. When SpaceX began, no one believed in our success. Rockets exploded with every launch, but I never allowed failure to stop me. I knew that to achieve something great, you must start with small steps and persist, even when results aren't immediately visible. You have to act and keep acting, even if the road ahead is difficult. The important thing is not that you start with a perfect plan, but that you start acting right now, even with small steps. In work and in life, many people are obsessed with perfection. But perfection is not what you need. You need action. Action, no matter how small, is far more valuable than just thinking about it and doing nothing. Every time you act, even if it's a small task, you're creating change. And every small change, repeated daily, will create significant progress. I often tell my team, no small progress is meaningless. Every action you take today, even the smallest, brings you closer to your goal. When we worked at Tesla, not everything was smooth. We faced many failures and unexpected difficulties, but we never stopped. We started with simple tasks, improving each part of the car, every small detail that many people would overlook. These improvements weren't always immediately noticeable, but they made a long-term difference. Small actions don't mean lack of ambition. On the contrary, they form the solid foundation for big changes. In everyday life, we often get caught up in big problems and feel that we must do something grand to change everything. But that's not how the world works. The world changes through small actions, the small decisions we make every day. You don't have to change the world in one day. You just need to change yourself a little each day. A good habit is formed from small actions, and those habits create a different life. One of the most important things I learned in my entrepreneurial journey is start with the smallest things, because that's how you create big leaps. People may see a SpaceX rocket soaring high, but they don't see the thousands of hours of work, failed experiments, and small details our team had to perfect step by step. Those things, those small actions, created the big leaps. I never underestimate the power of small actions. Small actions accumulate into a big empire. Don't think only big decisions bring change. Real change comes from consistent, steady steps, from the actions you take every day, from never stopping, even when you don't see results immediately. Every second you don't act is a second you lose an opportunity. Another thing I realized in my entrepreneurial journey is you will never feel perfect to start. People always think they need to be fully prepared, that they need all the answers before they start working. But the truth is, you'll never have all the answers. You'll never have the perfect time to begin. Successful people are those who start acting even when they're not fully prepared, even when they don't have all the answers. They act and then adjust as needed. They don't wait for perfection to begin. We often think that small actions don't matter. But if you look at any journey, you'll see that they all start with small steps. Every day, every small decision is part of the process that creates big change. When I started with Tesla, I just wanted to make a good electric car. But over time, with every small decision, every small improvement, that car became an important part of the automotive industry revolution. If I hadn't started with those small steps, I would never have seen the big results I have today. Think about the change you want to make in your life. You may think you need to do something grand, but you don't have to. Start with small actions, and gradually you'll see that every small step takes you closer to your goal. Don't wait until you have all the answers. Start now, even with the smallest steps. And believe that when you persist and continue to act, even with small changes, you will create a big difference in your life. The power of persistence is one of the most decisive factors in achieving success. Nothing great is achieved without persistence. And I've learned this through every failure, every challenge I faced in my career. When I started building SpaceX and Tesla, no one believed we could succeed. People said I was chasing unrealistic dreams, that I would fail. But the important thing is, I never gave up. I persisted. Persistence is what helped me overcome all the hardships, failures, and challenges we faced. When I look back on my journey, I see that persistence is the only factor that helped me keep my faith and keep moving forward when everything else wasn't working. That's when I saw the true power of persistence. In fact, without persistence, there was no way I could have overcome the early failures of SpaceX, the failed rocket launches, or the financial struggles Tesla faced. Persistence was the deciding factor that kept me going through the tough times, keeping myself and my team on track. You may face bad days, challenges that make you want to give up, but the key is to persist. There's no path to success without challenges. In fact, I'll say that if you haven't failed yet, maybe you haven't truly challenged yourself enough. I never worried about failing. I always saw failure as an opportunity to learn, to improve. The important thing is never to give up. No matter how difficult or how many failures you face, you must persist, not just for the goal, but for your own personal growth. Throughout my journey, I always tried to maintain an attitude of never giving up. When Tesla couldn't produce enough cars, when SpaceX faced countless rocket launch failures, I didn't allow myself to stop. Each failure was a chance to learn something new, and I knew that would bring me closer to my goal. Persistence isn't just about working hard when things are going well. It's about continuing to work even when everything is tough. I always tell my team that persistence is the differentiating factor between those who succeed and those who never achieve anything. Persistence is the ability to keep working, to keep fighting, even when you don't see immediate results. Some people give up when faced with challenges, but the persistent ones never give up. They keep going, they keep looking for ways to improve until they reach their goal, and that's what makes them successful. Never think that persistence is meaningless. Every second you continue working, every minute you don't give up, adds value. If you give up when things aren't finished, you'll never know what you could achieve. You can't predict when the most crucial moment of your journey will come. You might face great challenges, but you'll never know what's coming if you give up. You must persist, continue working, even when there's no immediate result. Persistence also helps you maintain motivation. While others might give up quickly, the persistent ones always find a way to overcome the difficulty. Failures and challenges are opportunities for you to prove your capabilities. In fact, when I face difficulties, I feel even stronger. I realize that if I can overcome this challenge, I'll be even stronger in the future. Persistence is not just the ability to work for long periods, it's the ability to keep your motivation throughout the process. Think about the most successful people in history. They never gave up. They persisted even when everything seemed impossible. Thomas Edison, when inventing the light bulb, tested thousands of times before finding a successful solution. He didn't give up, even though many people would have quit after facing failure. He kept going, and in the end, he changed the world. That is the power of persistence. If you don't give up, you will achieve things you can't imagine. Persistence also helps you overcome fear. When I started SpaceX and Tesla, I was haunted by the risks and the possibility of failure, but I didn't let that fear stop me from acting. Persistence means you don't let negative thoughts stop you. When you persist, you won't let fears decide your fate. You will continue to move, continue to act, no matter what's happening. Persistence is not blind endurance. It's the determination to reach your goal despite all the difficulties, challenges, and failures you face. When you persist, you're not just getting closer to your goal, you're also learning, growing, and becoming stronger. Persistence helps you break through your limits, helping you discover abilities you never thought you had. So, never give up. No matter what challenges you face, remember that persistence is the deciding factor. Be persistent, keep moving forward, and in the end, you will reach your goal. Nothing is impossible if you don't give up. Persistence will help you overcome any challenge, and when you look back, you will realize that it was those moments of persistence that created your success. The decision to move forward every second is one of the most important steps you can take in life. We live in a constantly changing world, and if you don't decide to move forward every second, you'll be left behind. It's not just in big moments, but in every minute, every second, you must make decisions to not stop, to not stand still. The truth is, there's no time to hesitate, no space to waste. If you want to achieve something great, you must act now, one step at a time. When I started building Tesla, no one thought an electric car company could succeed. They said I was dreaming, that the automotive industry was too difficult to change, but I didn't listen to those words. I decided that I would continue moving forward, despite the difficulties and challenges. Every second I didn't act, I knew I was missing an opportunity. So, I never stopped working. Every decision, no matter how small, was an important part of creating change. The decision to move forward every second isn't impatience. It's an awareness of the value of time. You can't stand still. You can't wait for opportunities to come to you. You have to create those opportunities, and you have to do it now. Every second that passes is an opportunity missed if you don't act. You might think that 1 second doesn't matter, but in reality, every second can make a difference. The small steps you take every second will gradually lead you to great results. When I started SpaceX, we didn't have enough money, no resources, but we never stopped. Every second we kept working, kept improving, we got closer to our goal. And that is the power of deciding to move forward every second. This decision isn't always easy. Sometimes everything seems to be against you. You will face failure, and you will encounter difficulties that you can't predict. But the difference between successful people and those who aren't successful is the ability to maintain the decision to move forward even when faced with challenges. Successful people are not those who never fail. They are those who never give up. They continue moving forward, continue acting, no matter how hard it is. This is what makes the big difference. Every decision you make, every step you take, no matter how small, has a big impact on your future. You won't always see results immediately, but the important thing is to keep going, keep moving forward. When I started my company, we didn't always achieve success right away. There were times when everything seemed impossible to overcome, but my team and I always stayed determined to move forward. Every failure was a lesson, and those lessons brought us closer to success. The decision to move forward every second was what kept us from giving up. This determination needs to be maintained daily. You must decide to move forward, not only on good days, but also on your worst days. You can't wait for everything to become easy. Success doesn't come from ease. It comes from continuing to act despite the challenges. If you continue to move forward, even with small steps, you will make a big difference. When I faced difficulties developing Tesla and SpaceX, I didn't stop. I kept acting, and every second I didn't give up brought me closer to my goal. Every second is an opportunity for you to change your life. You can choose to stand still, or you can decide to act. If you don't act, you'll never know your true potential. Change doesn't come from waiting, it comes from action. And action is the decision you must make every second. There's no time to hesitate, no time to think you'll do it later. If you don't act now, you'll never see the results you want. Throughout my journey, I've learned that no change happens without continuous action. When you want to achieve something great, you can't just sit and wait for opportunities. You must create those opportunities. And the only way to do that is to keep moving forward every second. Every second you act is 1 second closer to your goal. Don't let procrastination, fear, or anything else stop you. The decision to move forward every second is not just about action, it's also about how you face difficulties. You won't always succeed in every step you take, but you'll always learn something from the failures. It's these failures that help you grow and become stronger. Every failure is a lesson to prevent you from repeating the same mistakes in the future. And only by continuing to move forward can you turn these lessons into solid steps in life. Finally, the decision to move forward every second is about never giving up. Success doesn't come from never encountering failure, but from not allowing failure to stop you from acting. Every second you continue, every second you don't give up, you're moving forward, even if the results aren't immediately visible. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is that successful people never give up, and you must decide that you will never give up, no matter what happens. Keep moving forward, second by second, and you'll find that each step takes you to greater success than ever before.